I should probably share my screen as well. Am I sharing yet? I'm not sharing yet.
So yeah, are we staying on camera, off camera? What are we doing?
I think we stay on camera for everybody, all the lovely people who have been on their way home from Arizona. I landed yesterday. Krista, who left a day before me, arrived 6 hours before me because of Storm Bertie in the UK. Got
Bird,
up.
actual bird.
Yeah, good old Bert. Snow from the north meant she wasn't getting home. So I hung out with Kim Mortensen and did horse riding. And I actually went to my first rodeo. So I can now officially say, this ain't my first rodeo. That was my most favorite bit of the whole thing, apart from obviously the very, very cool, um, the very, very coolness that is a rodeo. That was a lot of fun and learning how, or in my case, how not to ride English um on a Wild West saddle. I don't know what you call it. Like Americans have a completely different saddle system going on with their horse riding. So I had to learn how to not. It's like the coach was like going, stop pulling back on the reins. Literally, if you pull back on the reins on an American horse, it actually starts going backwards. That's what it's trained to do. It's like you pull backwards, the horse will go backwards. So that was quite funny. So just whilst we chat, whilst we're letting everybody in, how are we? Let's have it in the chat. Who was at Let's Grow Summit? Who was it? It's called a Western saddle. Thank you, Nancy. It's called a Western saddle as opposed to an English saddle. So who was at Let's Grow Summit? Let's have a look. Hands up. You're all allowed to have your cameras on if you want. This is an interactive, collaborative session. Yes, Lindsay Hamilton was there. Fantastic. And not everybody also answered if they're in classic or pro, which is going to obviously impact a little bit of the training. Dennis, on camera. Thank you very much. If you want to come on camera, come on camera. Nancy's got her hand raised. Come talk. This is interactive. This is to really get this done with me and JR today. Nancy, did you want to say something with your hand raised or not? Okay, fine. Right, so look, this is what I'm thinking, guys. I speak quite fast. Sorry about that. Most people listen to audiobooks on 2x speed and they rewatch my webinars on half speed. So if you need me to repeat something, repeat it, and hopefully I'll catch it in the chat. If not, shout at me. And what I thought I would do in the first instance, like I don't know who was and who wasn't in the room when I delivered about how I have grown my agency strategically. It was kind of like my story, how I've grown my agency since I've been a Keap partner, which is about 12 years. And I was sharing all of that kind of secret sauce with you guys. Christy was brilliant. So, Christy, if I miss anything that was key that really resonated with you, feel free to share it with the team here. I'm gonna whiz through a kind of really fast version, top line version, just to kind of key us up for why we're here in the first place. So anyone that doesn't know me, hi, my name's Lisa, and my business, my automation agency is the Business Catalyst, and I've been a key partner since about 2011, 2012. I'm one of the legacy OG partners. The first thing you have Max Classic, thanks, Martin. The first thing that I covered off in my presentation was really about mindset, was around the fact that no automation agency is the same. We're all at different stages in our business, and anything that we cover off, you kind of have to adapt for where you're at in your business. But also a lot of getting out of your own way. We all have a lot of stories around why we'd rather do anything other than the work that we should be doing now, and bringing our core focus and going, let me just go make dinner, or let me just go get that load of laundry on before I get to this. So we've all got those stories, and we've all had stuff happen in our lives that we believe gets in our way. So this is about identifying what that is, getting curious about it, and really making sure that you have the tools in place, affirmations, journaling, setting boundaries with your clients, saying no a lot. Don't let them decide what your process is. Don't let them decide which automations they think they should have. You're the expert. So a lot of you making sure that you are in the right headspace to be able to be the business owner that you actually have the capacity, the knowledge, and the wisdom to be, without living in this whole kind of belief system of why it's you can't do that. I'm sure we've all got stories, and I've got plenty around how I wish I'd done things differently. There's no such thing as a mistake. It's all about learning and taking that forward so that we don't make the same mistake twice. That's fairly forbidden, making the same mistake twice. That's just dumb. And if anyone's got any great stories around how they've overcome their mindset, I'm sure everyone would love to hear about that. So we spoke a little bit about mindset, and then I spoke about the fact that you can't grow your agency until you get out of your own way. Hindsight's really useful. Living vicariously through the mistakes of others, really useful. This is actually the growth curve that we had in our business when I decided to start listening to other people, which was really, really hard for me. Krista's known me for many years and will know that that is the truth. And also not kind of taking it personally. It's a great book called The Four Agreements, which is really useful on this. It's about being boundaried. It's about sticking to your word. It's about not letting other people's behavior really determine how you're showing up every day for yourself, your business, and your family. So hindsight is a wonderful thing, as is living vicariously through others. Another thing we did was our core focus. We had an MRR strategy, a monthly recurring strategy in our business. And this is what happened. Look at that. What a surprise. Bringing in a core focus, MRR, and then our business kind of skyrocketed. And that's a lot of what we're going to cover off today, is being able to have a repeatable system in order that you can get this repeatable system in place, which will give you recurring revenue in your business. A lot of that comes from making sure you know your numbers. These are examples of over the last couple of years of what we have been recording in our business in the three key departments of sales and marketing, ops, and finance. This changes often because the focus of the business changes often, and building scorecards is really, really hard. Trying to not go into the minutiae detail. My business partner goes insane because my scorecards can have, 30, 50, 60 lines on them, because I need to know every page and how many hits that page got on and how many clicks that email got on it and all the rest of it. And all actually he needs to help me run the business is the holistic top line view. So this is a lot of this is designed to get me fired out of operations. So you'll see, our talent maps and stuff is all about how to get Lisa out of operations and be able to hand it off to other people. So that was one of our core focuses. I think on there somewhere is how many hours Lisa is spending with clients. So that kind of thing. So really understand. And again, this is specific to your business. This was my business. This is what we needed to measure. So make sure that you are understanding what your business needs right now to be measured. One of the ways that I was coached into being able to do this was understanding what the goal is. Is that number of discovery calls booked? Is that number of clients you've got on MRR? Whatever your goal is, and goals will change, and they're meant to. So like every quarter, do you have your goals set? What are the KPIs so that you know that you're on track with your goals? What are the critical drivers? What are the actual actions that you will need to take to make sure that those KPIs have the best chance of being the great numbers, and knowing what is on track, off track, and at risk with those numbers, and the metrics so that you know that you're on track with your critical drivers. Does all of that make sense, or have I had too much caffeine and I'm going a bit fast? Are we all good? A little bit of a thumbs up. Is that Chucky Chuck coming in, Charles Hilbrand? So, good. One thumbs up. Thanks, guys. A little bit of interactive is really healthy for me to let me know that I'm not just out here in the desert of Zoom land by myself. So let's get really high level with your numbers, understand what you need in order to know that you are on track, and every action you are taking should be in alignment with being on track, off track, or at risk. So now we're going to get into some juicy kind of how-to stuff. Thank you, Lakeisha. That's great for giving me a thumbs up. Makes me feel loved and warm and cuddly. This is the bulletproof systems. This really was one of the major turning points of our business, inspired by Scott Martineau on a partner call, I think in April 2020. Well, that's when I keep saying it was, which was, and you should all recognize this as the original kind of life cycle marketing, attract, sell, and wow. So the minute that I was able to identify that I wasn't a solutions provider, I wasn't somebody that was, a technical geek speaking to people in language they couldn't understand, and was able to frame it up in a context that every business owner could understand, which was the ideal customer journey, was the minute that I got focused and the whole universe kind of got focused with me. So this whole mapping is something that we have done as our top of funnel for quite a number of years now. So we literally will have a blank canvas of this, which if you were in the session last week, I will have shared with you, and I'm happy to share with anyone that's on this call. So we literally take a walk. I do this live in a flow charting software called Lucid. It works in Miro. It works in anything you want to use to go, what are you doing in your business right now? What should you be doing? And where should we bring focus right now? Now, this is great if you're doing a customized journey. So by a little show of hand, who here is doing each stage, or sorry, you distracted me there, Charles. Who here is repeatedly building unique custom journeys every single time they sign up a new client? Let's have a little show of hands. Who's doing more custom builds than they are repeatable builds? Okay, because that's like tiresome, right? Repeatable, that's brilliant, Daniel. Thank you for that. And Chuck, it really depends on the business. Sometimes they're stuck on lead capture. Sometimes, it's really about where they're saving time and money. Yes, Krista, you are doing custom a lot because I support you in that sometimes. So what I would, one of our key things that really helped us do to be successful here, once we had nailed our customer journey, along with also the playbooking of that, which is the map before you build. And you'll know from any Brad Martineau session, you've got the customer journey, the customer experience, and the technical playbook. This will save you time in the long run, really mapping out what is happening in each stage of the customer journey and each of your campaigns. So each row here is a campaign, and it hands it off to the next one, which helps you build in a modular way. Then there is also the documentation of that, which we do inside Campaign Builder, Automation Builder, which you can just do with an HTML free editor, because those notes inside Campaign Builder work off HTML. So go and Google free HTML editor and put in all the links that link back to those, plus this or Zapier or Make or whatever it is, additional pieces, copy documents, so that you're not having to waste time clicking around, and anyone else, including your client that comes in, or in my case, engineers, means that they can find everything that is related to that campaign in one place. So this was really the summary of the bullet of the systems and processes, because we all are, I think, here automation engineers. So knowing how to build a system is really key, and building a repeatable system is what's going to put your business on rocket fuel. So diagnosing and planning before you build. Did you hear that bit? That was before you build. Knowing what your own sales process is, and some of this was covered off in the session, and I appreciate I didn't do it here. Having a great onboarding for your client, that will really help keep them sticky, and knowing what their time to value is, so that when they're winning, they can see that they're winning. That will keep them sticky. Learning how to delegate and tasking, making sure you've got solid client communications so that nothing is missed on email. We like to do that in a Google document, which is like, we use the outline for the different dates. So it's like a journal. Having great project management, and really importantly, documentation and SOPs. Did Lindy just say, JR, that we can't put HTML notes into the new campaign builder? Everyone, this is JR Keen from Keap product team, who is here to answer any technical questions and take the rap for where product haven't given us what we need.
Hello, everybody. Yes, that was a comment, but they just look a little different. Notes are still there in the new builder.
Okay, great. Phew. Thank goodness for that because I didn't want to have to go and fly back over to Arizona and go and shoot Ammon. Um, I was trained by Tyler Garnes in box out marketing as well, and I will share this with you. This is the way. This is originally devised by box out marketing, which is now the Keap way, which is the naming and principles behind tag and campaign naming. So I will share that with you after this call as well. I also, one of my big pieces of success was going and stealing every single piece of information I could out of the partner portal. Pretty much everything on this slide here is stolen from the partner portal, sent to Fiverr to be rebranded, and then put out into my marketing funnels. So I would go and have a little root around at what Matt Vosberg has put in there for you, because this was a huge relief for me as a technical engineer not to have to go and develop my own marketing materials. And I'm pretty sure a lot of you will feel the same. So we productized the ideal customer journey, but it was still very kind of custom build. So we started then bringing that into a productized form. So one of the things we did during COVID was funnel in a box, was putting together what we know to be an ideal journey, which I teamed up with somebody. We teamed up with someone. Knowing who you are is really important, and saying no to stuff you shouldn't be doing. How many people on this call are writing copy for their clients, but they're not copywriters? Ever done that? Have you ever written copy for your clients, but you're not actually a copywriter, right? Of course, said Daniel. Well, stop it. Go and partner with someone that is an expert at what they do, and you be an expert at what you do. So I teamed up with a copywriter. She did copy for landing pages and emails. I handled the technical stuff. We put our list together and we created Funnel in a Box, which was a kind of done for you solution for any business. And again, you can team up with someone that does videos or does training in how to do VSLs if you want to do that. Trick here is keep it simple. So starting to productize the customer journey into a rinse and repeat system, whether it's for you to install or whether it's for is for your clients to install, is going to save you a lot of time and heartache, both on build and on support later, and on any support materials that you have. Lindy, have a word with someone like Andrew McEwen, because I know that he's a copywriter. Make sure that the people that you pair with are aligned with your core values. That goes hand in hand with hiring A players. You're inviting them to your family, to your table, to your clients. So just make sure they're a good fit as well as skilled at what they do. So this was our first round of productization. I then took the ideal customer journey and created the ideal patient journey. So it was originally for dentists. Any appointment-based bricks and mortar business would work with this, right? Because it's the same system. There is a finite number of customer journeys because you've got appointment-based bricks and mortar, you've got e-commerce, you've got coaches and consultants, you've got people doing webinars. You can silo these. And this is where the proven automations that Keap provide also comes in handy, because a lot of this has been pre-built for you. And we're going to make sure that you have access to the proven automations after this call as well, to save you time in building and having to think about it. So we productized it. We made sure this is our core values. I'm not sure why that's in there, but that was our secret sauce, was making sure that we had a productized solution with a great onboarding that was rinse and repeat. That was absolutely our secret sauce. So in summary, that's what I've just given you. So now we're going to get juicy. That was the summary of what I delivered last week, just to kind of key up where we're at. The idea being that if you are able to be disciplined with yourself, to create a rinse and repeat system using Solution Launchpad and the coaching portal and the proven automations. And by the way, your RPMs will be able to help you with this. I'm going to make sure you've got a link to their calendar at the end. You will be able to save yourself so much time to be able to strategize on your business, which is what you should be doing as a business owner. So Shall we dive in? Has everybody here managed to install the solution launchpad that was on the email for this webinar? So th thumbs up from Lindy, thank you. Who has not? Let's do the short one. Has anybody not been able to install it? So Daniel, you've not been able to install it? You've got it. Okay, great. If anybody doesn't have it, we'll try and let me see if I can find the link easily to be able to install it right now. Does everybody know where to find will it work? Yes, Martin, it will work. So I might hand over to JR here as just to walk everybody through where to find Solution Launchpad. Just to JR was not ready for this, by the way. I did not prime him. Where to find Solution Launchpad and the coaching portal, as well as the Content Assistant AI. So JR, do you want to share your screen?
Absolutely. All right.
Has anybody already got a Solution Launchpad working or has been using it at all? And if you've got any challenges with that, the time now with JR on this call is the time to solve it. So JR has built out 4 different campaigns. In fact, I might just boot you off for a second. Might just boot you off just for a little second because I just want to show everybody this. This is what we built. This is what JR and I discussed, right? Which was like a proven automation, a proven system. Everybody needs a lead capture. Okay, so it's okay, we're going Matt Vosberg has given us social posts. They're all in the portal for you to be able to drive to a landing page, to send follow-up emails to get people onto a call, to create an opportunity pipeline to then get people to check out. We want you selling the solution launchpad, basically selling this system so that what you're about to configure, you configure for your clients to put on rinse and repeat with instructions in the coaching portal. So I'm going to give you this canvas as well, because you can see down here, planned out what needs to go into the coaching portal in order to know what success is. And by planning this out in advance, by looking at this in advance and going, all right, well, landing page, what are we going to need there? We're going to need copy, but in order to do the copy, we're going to need to know who the avatar is and what the offer is, and we're going to need emails. Oh, look, we might just have an AI content assistant to help us with those emails for those of us who aren't great on content. Then I've looked at here, I've gone, okay, what do I need for this section? Here, I need the follow-up emails and I need the calendar. So these are the things that we go backwards and forwards, logging in, logging out, campaign builder, this different section. Whereas if we know in advance, we can create the optimum journey through these different assets, which makes it a great experience for any client that's going, okay, go do this first, because them coming to it later when they're actually building the campaign or when you are, and knowing that the calendar's already set up, it's going to pay dividends, both emotionally for you, for them, in time, in experience, in journey, in everything. So knowing what you need up front is super useful. I'm also going to share this with you because this is the technical playbook that goes with what JR has built. So it basically outlines everything that is in the campaign, plus tells us any of the technical details that we need as well of what we're linking out to. Because if you're in Keap Mac Classic, you're going to be using something like Calendly or Appointment Core or Once Hub. So knowing where you're starting will give you a lot more peace of mind and speed where you're going to end up. So now that I've finished battering you, JR, your turn.
All right, let me share my screen here with you all. Okay, here we go.
I'll try not to kick you off and get busy again this time.
It's quite all right. Quite
Oh,
okay.
yes.
All right, so let's start off with our first automation here. And let me blow this up here just a little bit. So we've got a there's essentially four pieces to this. So if you refer back to Lisa's chart, you'll see that there's a few stages in there. And so stages two, three, four, and five are what we are going to be focusing on today. So starting with stage two, that is going to be our landing page. And so inside this automation, what we've done is we've essentially streamed it to only getting them as an opt-in. So when leads come to your landing page, let's open this up. And so what they will do is they will go through this form. And so we put together a template here. My internet's a little slow and lagging, but here we go. So we've got a basic template here, fill in some blanks. It's really more about getting them to have trust and loyalty. So you throw in some testimonials here. And with that, we have a few pages here. So if we click on over, you'll see that there is a schedule page, which then they redirect to. So you're going to want to make sure that you optimize this widget in place here. And so with your booking links, if that's what you're using, you can insert your booking links. You'll see they'll appear here. Well, of course, in this case, it's probably a permission issue, but the placeholders that come through, they're going to be looking at your booking links that you have in your system. So if you do need assistance with that, I can briefly put a link in the chat after I'm done, but that's a real simple two-click process to create these.
What happens
If
if you're on Classic?
Right now on Classic, we actually have enabled appointments for all of you in your Classic apps too. So for you as a partner, if you're a registered partner and you go into your partner app that you're using, you will see that there are automations in place now that you can start to use the new appointments. We also have enabled the sales pipelines, and there's also the easy automations as we've enabled as well. So those are all available within your partner apps. Make sure you're using your partner app and not any other app because it's only in those apps. Um, so additionally, you may have heard about the Calendly appointments too. So if you are using Calendly, you can also insert a Calendly link, for example. Let's see if it pulls up here. Got one that's kind of,
Gone funky on you there, dude.
yeah, it did. I'm not quite sure what happened there. But then what you would do is put this back in. There we go.
I
And
do
then what would happen
live
is
technical
this.
demos. Don't you love live technical demos? It's like working with children and animals. Don't work with technology on a live demo.
Yeah, of course, right? It's always when you're wanting it to go easy peasy. The last piece here, let's go back into this. And I'll show you there's a final thank you page inside of this landing page. All right, so let's go back to pages. We've got our schedule, which is what we were just on, and then we have a final thank you page when they're completed. And essentially, you want them to check their inbox for next steps. That's pretty the generic outcome here. So that's the landing page in general. So please feel free to edit that, change it up, make it yours. And let's go back to our automation here. Now, after they opt in, this is where we're going to do a schedule discovery call. So we've got the Keap way tagging going on. We've got some statuses here that they have opted in, so we're applying those tags to keep track. We've got our email one that's set up that is going out to them with a link to schedule. So I've just put a basic little template here. Let's chat. There's a link here that you can use. And I just want you to understand how these links work. So if you guys are familiar with Classic, this is new to you. So in Classic, let's say you highlight the text, and if you want to go to your link, you'll see down here that there's appointment links under special link section. A lot of people look up here and they're like, I don't see it. This isn't showing or helping me. Make sure you click the special links and then go to your appointment links, and then you can choose which ones, and you'll see it'll insert the proper link for that booking. So that's how you can edit it. Same thing with the button down here. If you go to edit this, You'll see that there is a link option down here. Now on this side, it's over on the right-hand side, but same layout here. We don't want to click on this top section. You want to click down on this special link section again, and that'll insert it there. So once you get your copy in place, get your links all proper, then that would be your good starting point to then clone probably these templates because you don't want to repeat updating all these one by one. Really the content in here is again, it's very basic, it's very generic. You'll see here that again, I just kept a basic chat kind of flow. It's just following up on the last email, so it's really the same copy, but again, you're going to want to make sure that this gets updated. So let's jump out of create email.
So, I mean, updating the copy, guys, you will, I really suggest that you go and dive into Scott and Eric's AI automation assistant. Has anyone here not got access to that or doesn't know where to find that? Let me know in the chat while JR carries on, and I'll shove some links in there for you.
Cool. Thanks, Lisa. All right, so the last piece here is we have our goal, which is when somebody confirms their appointment. So there's a schedule, a reschedule, and a cancel. So at this point, we're looking for them to schedule, which is then going to complete this automation. And what then happens is we're going to now jump into the second automation, which is where the booking is going to pick up. All right, so let's go down to number 2 here. All right. Now in number 2, you'll see that we have a discovery call scheduled. We have a discovery call rescheduled. And that's where the 2 different scenarios can pick up here. So under scheduled, you'll notice in the first one that pulled them out of the first automation. Now this is going to then trigger and start the second automation here, right? So if they're coming through, they're going to essentially go into the call pre-appointment. We're now going to apply some additional tagging here to now that we know that they've also scheduled. We're removing the previous tag that we had, right, in case that there's any cancellation. And I'll get to that in a second here. And then we have what is called a discovery call outcome. And this is going to be a piece that you are going to need to configure here. And let me open this up so you can see here. So this discovery call outcome, what this is this is looking for different ways to be able to flow through. So if, for example, there's a no-show, we would program that no-show into an outcome, and I'll show you that over here. So we have different completion scenarios, which are going to be based on that task. And there's 3 of them here. We have one, which is a no-show, one, which is a call completed, and another, which is a call not interested. There's lastly also a call canceled, but you'll notice this is not based on a completion scenario for that task. This is going back to the booking if they cancel. So with that said, let's start with that cancellation process, right? So if they cancel, then what we want them to do is essentially we want to get them to reschedule. That's the goal. So we would then drip on them, reschedule, and go through essentially that same 3-step email series and then get them rescheduled. And what we do is we have a loop here. So we're going to pull them out on the back and then they're going to come back in on the beginning here. And this is where now we have a third tag, which is for rescheduled, right? So we're tracking if they schedule the first time, if they've ever rescheduled, then they would have the scheduled in the rescheduled. And then if they decide to be a no-show, that's where we would then have our task completion scenario here. And that would then promptly go down here. Now, lastly, we have the generic process for call completed. And this call completed, this is the important piece. So again, another tag. This is now tracking that this call has been completed. This is going to be the trigger piece moving forward in this last goal, this tag goal here, which is what's now going to say completed, and that's going to pull them out. And so that's going to now insert them into the third automation that I'm getting into here. So we're moving into stage 4, which is going to be a nurture automation. So before we get going into number three here, this is where I'll show you just a real quick piece. So we have the goal that's creating a deal here, right? So this deal, this is the part that you're going to need to configure. Let me step back out here for a second and let's go over to our sales and let's go to our pipelines. So I've created a special pipeline here in this instance. So this pipeline should be included in your application. Now, you may be looking at this interface and maybe this isn't the right interface that you're used to. If you switch back, and I'll do this here for you classic users.
I wondered what you'd done. You've gone into my app and switched it over to Ultimate, which gave me a little bit of a fright earlier. I won't lie.
It's not a problem, not a problem. So, you're probably seeing this old interface here, and you're probably looking for view opportunities, which unfortunately, these are the old records. These are not deal records, is what they're known now in the new system, right? So, if we go back into your main navigation, you'll see that there's a new, and you should then also have a try keep max. So this is going to work both in max. This will work in classic, as long as those feature flags are turned on, which we told you about. So if you're a partner, you have classic, you should be able to have these feature sets here. And then also if you're currently testing ultimate, if you have that already enabled, these will then work in Ultimate too. So make sure that you come back, you toggle back over to try keep max, and then you will then be able to access all of these cool features here. So back to these pipelines. So within these pipelines, what we're doing is we have essentially our stages, and we also have the ability to have automations in place. So these automations, which are a part of the sales pipeline, these are the easy automations. These are not the advanced automations, right? So let's jump over to automations. And I'm just going to tie all this together for you because I want you to understand how this is all connected. So there is a easy automation that is set up that was also included. And this is essentially when this deal is closed inside this specific pipeline, and it's going into deal one, which is what we're looking for because that means it's a win. Then immediately we add a tag, which this is a trigger tag, which is then kicking off the fourth automation that we have, which is for fulfillment. So going back to easy automations, you can either set them up here in this section under automation. You'll see easy. There's also advanced. So if you toggle between the two, you'll see them going back and forth. Under the sales pipeline, if that's another place that you want to do it. So if we scroll over to one, for example, and we have edit automation, you'll see here that it knows that there's an easy automation tied to this specific stage that we have here. And then you can, of course, go in here and edit it right within here too. So either way, either side, you can edit that easy automation. So when you have your deal, you're working in from stage to stage. They essentially get dropped into this one stage. This easy automation then picks up, adds this tag, and then now that's going to take us back into our fourth and final automation, which would be stage 5. And so lastly here, here's the trigger from the easy automation, which is then adding them in. Now, in this case, this move deal is just really a placeholder in case there's something that you need to do when this deal is moved. And it's more for internal. Right now, it's just a placeholder. If you don't need it, you can delete this and then just connect this tag in this final onboarding fulfillment sequence. The last piece here is just doing some tag cleanup. So if they've ever canceled, if they were ever a no-show, if they ever rescheduled at this point, we now know that we can clean that up, that they are now getting a welcome email for that fulfillment. And lastly, the content for that piece, thanking them. And that's it. That is all the automations, all 4 pieces, stages 2, 3, 4, and 5. So what questions do we have?
Well, I'm muted, so that wasn't clever. Right, so here's the thing, right? Which is you need to go and make this your own. So it'd be really interesting to know, from you guys, do you think, having seen what you've seen here, do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that this is something that you would want to do? Do you think that and the technical documentation that I've prepared for you. There's a couple of things that I think you should know about. If you're not familiar with the way, which is the Keap way, which I'm not sure if it's been adapted since I was trained in it, it works on the principle of four key tags. That being, let me see if I just put it into the chat a minute ago, didn't I? Let me just open up that document I shared with you because Tyler gave me full permission to go and swipe and go and white label it. It's everything you need is in this community, by the way, guys. So there it is. Okay. So this is the way, and it's in the chat, which is there's four basically types of tags, and these are the rules that every tag should be in a category. It should follow the naming convention. And by looking at a tag, you know where it is, what it is, and its function. We actually upgraded this to include the campaign ID in there as well. So we knew exactly where a tag was. So in principle, trigger tags start and stop stuff. And they always get removed because who can tell me what happens when you apply a tag to a record where the tag is already on the record? What happens? Nothing happens, right? So that's why trigger tags always get removed so that they can be applied. Activity tags, they are behavior tags. They stay on the record. They never change. This person did that. They downloaded something. They showed up for something. Whatever it is, it's an activity. It never changes. It can't be changed. Status tags can change. Someone can sign up for a call and then they
watching a
can.
webinar listening, and I'm just working on stuff for Marnelli.
Sorry, who was that? Oh, that was somebody beaming in from somewhere. So status tags can be removed. So like JR was just taking you through, as you're moving somebody through, you want to know where the status of someone is, where they are active right now. Are they in waiting to book a call? Are they had a call and you're waiting for, opportunities? So you will want to add and remove status tags. So that's what JR was doing there. He was going, oh, well, now they've booked a call. We can remove all the other status tags. But meanwhile, on a search or on a decision diamond, they are really, really useful. And then there's profile tags, knowing who someone is, where someone is, all that kind of stuff. So all of that is in here. And I actually stole all of the videos. Tyler did a very brief course. If you guys want Tyler's mini course on the way, I will share that with you because I swiped that into my customer hub way back when because it was really useful for clients and for staff training as well. So understanding the principles of the build and why you're adding and removing tags rather than just leaving them on a record is really useful. So I'm pretty sure that all of us at some point in our automation architect careers have been backwards and forwards, flipping between screens. I don't know how anyone works on one screen, but the switching in and out of campaigns and oh God, I forgot to do this. So knowing what we know now about this flow that's been built for you, what I would love to know, even though this is linear from left to right, we're not necessarily going to get all of that information from left to right. So tell me what do you think is the first thing that's the most important thing that we would, let's say, put in a coaching portal if we were asking someone else to build this, someone on our team, or we were giving it to a client? What's the first thing in those green stickies that you think we would want to do? I'm interested to know what everyone's take on this, because there's always more than one way to skin a cat. There's always more than one way to solve a problem. But what is the most important thing in those stickies that we get done first, in your opinion? Anyone? I'm just going to keep talking till someone puts an answer in there. I'm not going to give you the answer. Someone better put it in there. And there's no wrong answer. The emails, interesting. Okay, Lindy, so in order to do you have enough information off the cuff to get those emails written? What do you need? If you're starting with the end in mind, thank you, Stephen Covey. What do we need in order to be able to write the emails? What are we missing? There is something that I always need. No, you've got the map, okay? So now you've got to go and write the emails. But we don't know who we're writing the emails for, right? We need to know the avatar, the information from the client. Fantastic, Denise. So we need to know the avatar, the ideal client, exactly. We need to know who we're writing it for and what the offer is. All right, so to know what it is we're selling and to know who it is we're selling it to. If you don't know, if you're trying to sell to everyone, and this comes back to productization and verticalization, although I'm not sure that's a word, you need to know who you're talking to. You cannot talk to everyone. Marketing is identifying the problem and marketing the solution. I learned that on a Keap training. So you assumed that you had that info. Well, this is what the AI content assistant is there for, which I'm now hoping that everybody's got access to, because you can go and generate the copy that you need for the landing page. You can generate the copy that you need for the email follow-up. And you could probably even get clever with a little bit of ChatGPT for your sales scripts and identifying the objections that you're going to have as well. So thank you, JR. Perfect. So as far as the starting point here, if you were building a coaching portal, which JR is going to show us in a minute, that's me prompting him to get his screens ready, is how to build the coaching portal so that whether you are building it out for a client next time, or whether you're asking the client to go through steps with your training or your information so that it's a really slick process that you can put on rails, you can put on rinse and repeat, and you can nail a vertical on this. Has anybody here nailed a vertical? There's a number of people in the Keap community. If you look at someone like Tim Lyons, who's in health and wellness and fitness vertical, Paul Goff, he's in the physio vertical, Ryan Ryder, he's in the chiropractor vertical. You know, there's people who are really smashing it out there because they're speaking to an audience with a solution. And this is what we're trying to get you to do with the solution Launchpad, because this is where you're going to win. And this is where you'll find that a high proportion of the successful partners are winning with this verticalization. So step one is to go to the content generator, although there is the plays, there we are, plays.keap.app. Brilliant, Daniel. On services, residential cleaning. So they're all home services, right? You focus on home services, all of which will have the same problem of never being able to follow up with a client on time, I would imagine, or tracking their clients, or doing SMSs when they're on their way or they've missed. So go into the automation assistant. There is a load in here of information. Am I sharing my screen? I am sharing my screen. Of different ones that are pre-made for you, and you can see there are more in here. So whether you are in here going to push people to a discovery call, it might be that you're pushing them to a webinar or some other engagement point. It may not be that you're pushing them to a consult to close. So get the order of things. JR, will you just give us a little bit of a tour around the coaching portal? Because this really, for me, is a lot where the magic lies of being able to have a repeatable setup and onboarding and steps to win.
All right, so let's share my
Gave you warning, dude.
screen. Okay, all right, so first things first, so inside of your app, when you're in the new interface, what you will see is settings, and the main settings page will load, and you should see your solution launchpad, but then also your coaching portal. If you do not have access to your coaching portal, please let us know, and I will take a look and investigate why and get that enabled. So when you go into the coaching portal, you'll see that you have a number of screens. The first one here on the left-hand side is this column where what apps you have. So right now we just have very limited, but if you had multiple apps in this case, you would select which app that you want to work with. So in this case, I'm going to work with the app that we're currently demoing out of, which is this app. I'm going to go back to the home. And then what I'll do is we have plays. Now, these plays are going to be checklists. So there's a number of ways that we can do this. So if we go to view playbook, you'll be able to see the play in general as the engagement, the way that it breaks down, the way that all the questions are mapped, and how then they can be essentially you can choose different goals throughout this playbook as to this is a milestone that you're going to achieve and you can set success. If you want to edit the checklist itself in the play, this is where, for example, I have a schedule consult, which I've added for this demo since that is our first landing page option that we're getting them to schedule. So within schedule content, you can come in here and modify, finalize your strategy, for example. Before you get started, it's important to review and finalize the strategy. So think of working with the end in mind, right? We want to build maybe perhaps some of these assets before we start getting into the automation builder and you start to struggle figuring out, I can't really connect the dots. I can't make this work without having all the proper pieces created first. So it's important to then go through this checklist and be able to make sure that, for example, connect your calendar, right? So there may be different options for if it's Pro Max only, or if it's going to be for your Outlook or for your Google Calendar, right? There's different resources you can add. Let's say, for example, in the step that you want to maybe add a video, you can add action in here for this step and you can embed a video. So that way it's easy for them to follow along if that's the way that you want to do it. There's also different steps that may require a internal link. For example, maybe they need to go to an order form that was brought in through an automation that was through Solution Launchpad. Lastly, a file download. Sometimes there's maybe an example template that you want to include, like a PDF download, or if there is some sort of example spreadsheet that you want to use, right? So continuing through this checklist, you can really get dialed in to each of these steps. You can set the amount of time that you think it will take to complete this. So it's probably good that you time these scenarios as you're testing them out yourself, get everything dialed in. As you're writing your copy, I mean, if you guys can write your copy in 15 minutes, kudos. I really hope it's ChatGPT helping you out because otherwise you're just a rock star. Um, because now you want to come into your AI-based copy generator. That's where everything AI is going to be. Some people like to use Gemini, other sources. Wherever you do it, I recommend you keep it all within the AI-based copy generator. And I can explain a little bit more on that in just a minute. You're creating your automation, publish and test, and then set up your play reporting, right? So these are all things that you can configure. So now if I go back over here into the app, and let's say I click down on this bottom right-hand icon, you'll see that it looks like a little playbook. It's got some numbers here saying, hey, there's some things here that aren't quite finalized, right? So I've got a bunch of stuff going on. And so you can see all the different plays that I've enabled for this particular app. And so you can add as many plays and checklists as you want. You can set up different customizations for each of these. So the sky's the limit. So again, as you go through, you can see what it looks like now on the customer side as they're going through. As you get it done, you can say dismiss this task. Now it's marked out once completed. When you get to your create internal form, here's an example that I was telling you about when it's time to create your internal form. This would be like an internal task. So if I click this, this is now going to take me right to my form section. And notice that my checklist is still here. It loaded it in the background. So I'm not getting lost and having to get back to the checklist. It's always constantly right here. The external links, that is, of course, a little bit different story. That would then open in a new tab. But if I'm done, come back, I'm right back to where I was, right? Moving forward, you get the gist. You can start to see all the different ways if you need to create an easy automation advanced. So let's say, for example, you've got clients that are working in Keap Pro, Keap Max, maybe different versions. This is where you can really get tailored. If you need to create a automation that is specifically for Pro or Max and not Classic or Ultimate, this is where you can kind of, choose which path is maybe best. If it's Pro, they're not going to have the advanced. They're only going to have the easy. So those are things to consider, and also consider the functionality between the two. If you're building an easy automation, well, of course, naturally it can be done in an advanced automation, but it can't be done the opposite approach. So publish and test, always important. Here's another example that now has the embedded video. So you can click to play video. You'll see it opens up. Nice, easy to see. It's not going to be this little screen. You can watch the video. It's right here. We can close it down when we're done. We say we got it. Good to go. And then lastly, of course, like your reporting here for your play. If you want to create a contact group or some dashboard widgets, right? We all know how to set up the dashboard and add in certain saved searches or saved reports that may be relevant to your automation. This would be the last piece to really kind of put the bow on top for your clients. So that's essentially, in a nutshell, how your coaching portal works and being able to create plays and checklists and then add all the cool little resources that go into each step. Any questions?
So, JR, are we going to build that out and send it over to peeps who have been on the call?
We absolutely can. Yes, we can get together. We can put together some checklists for this. And then what we'll do for those of you that already have this solution that you've installed it, when we get the new checklist added, what we will do is in Solution Launchpad, we will republish this automation. And then you all will be able to go back to the original link that was shared, click it, and then you can install the other items that may not have already been installed. So in this case, your checklist would then be installed without reinstalling any of the previous automations if you've already done so.
So, in summary, ladies and gentlemen, let me put this back up here. This is what I think, and I am, you look, I know a lot about a lot, but I also don't know everything about everything. But this would be my steps to success, which is you choose your avatar. This is for you as a Keap partner. Choose who you're going after. Use the content, the AI content assistant to help you get the landing page and the emails going smart swipes on there. Map the solution launchpad, use JRs as a foundation for that, adapt it, update it, create your own, whatever, using best practices, which I've given you hopefully all the tools that you need. And if you think I've got more tools that you need, you just need to ask and I'll send you everything I've got. Identify the best onboarding and setup to create your own task list and coaching portal. Go to the partner portal and swipe all of Matt Vosberg's and the marketing team's copy and content. I will send you out the latest stuff that Matt's given me this week and send it up to Fiverr or update it yourself. Fiverr costs next to nothing to go, here's my branding, make it look like that. And then get those sales rocking. You need to be congruent with what you're doing for your clients. The more in alignment you are with the service that you're selling, then the people come into my discovery calls and they go, oh, I want the same discovery call process that you've got with the emails and the SMS and stuff. That's what you want clients saying. They want to see that you are completely congruent with the product that you're selling. If you're having any trouble with this at all, then get on a call with your RPMs. Your RPMs are really best placed to help drag out of you what your avatar and what your offer could or should be, and to help you be accountable and to stay on track. Like the stuff in the partner portal, use and abuse your RPM. Whether it's Colleen, Brian, Vice, or Chuck especially, give him grief from me. He's been my favorite partner manager to date. I think he's still on the call. Have I said enough nice things about Chuck yet? So seriously, get on a call with your RPM. I want to open the floor for any questions and just let you know that the only stupid question is the one that you are not asking. Sharing is caring. The questions you ask, somebody else is thinking. What did we not cover on this call, or what are you not sure about that means that you can't get ahead with Solution Launchpad and the coaching portal today? What's going on with you guys now? What's in your way? Oh, I'm going to get crickets, aren't I, JR? No one's going to, anyone going to admit to anything? Right, okay, here we go. Say that again. Okay. Is all of that inside the partner program? Not sure what you're asking there, Martin. The Solution Launchpad and coaching portal and AI, it's all free. If you are a Keap partner, all of this, including abusing your RPM, is free and available to you. And I have sent you links, and I'm happy, and I'll send them all again in the follow-up. along with access to my customer hub way where I've gone and swiped Tyler's videos on, how the way is designed. So tell me, what's the one thing that's in your way right now from getting going with this so that when December 1 hits and you're back from Thanksgiving, if you're that side of the pond, what is stopping you now from getting a solution launchpad up and running in the next couple of weeks? Anyone? Anyone?
I have a question.
Go for it, Lindy.
Just in the coaches portal, that building out the checklist that goes with the client thing. So I've got stuck in the building each of these different areas to then have it all flowing through. You've given me a lot of great resources here. I mean, I've got up at 4 a.m., so my head's swimming a little bit. But it's the coaches portal and getting that checklist done. I know how to do it slowly, but then when I see all of this, my brain goes, where do I start? So what's the answer there, JR? You're probably, I mean, I've
No,
probably heard it, but
no,
I don't know if
absolutely.
that makes sense. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It does. So it goes back to like working with the automation first. Get your automation built exactly what you want to essentially push out to your clients. Once you know that that is finalized and working with the end in mind is that where you want to then start with a checklist. So start at the end of the automation that you built. Start looking at all the pieces that you need to build first. Like if you have a scheduled consultation, you need to build your booking links first, for example. So put all the things that you need to do at the top of your checklist first to get all the assets created. Then go back and work on the copy if you need copy and content for any emails, right? So get everything built up first, then complete the automation last by putting all that together with all those pieces you've now built.
Okay, thank you.
Absolutely.
It really is starting with the end in mind. And this is why looking at the whole automation, this is why planning before you build is so important, because all of these little bits and then working it backwards, like I said about, oh, it's emails. Oh, well, do I have everything I need from the emails? All those stuff, all those communications back and forth with your client of going, oh, I'm going to do this. Oh, but before I do that, I need this. Oh, and I need this. Oh, it's like Brad Martineau calls it the Saturday 8 run Builders Depot day or something. We don't have Builders Depot in the UK, but it's the same thing. You don't start like cooking a recipe without all the ingredients. And think of it that way. What are the ingredients that I'm going to need in order to build this automation successfully from beginning to end? And you won't know that unless you map it, unless you plan it, unless you diagnose it before you prescribe. Does that make sense, Lindy? And I'm telling you that it feels like it's work now, but once you've done it once and you've done it twice, it becomes muscle memory. And before you know it, the amount of time and headspace and grief and improved customer experience that you're creating as a result of this will be off the scale. First-hand experience right here. So who's your RPM, Martin? Can you please put that in the chat because Chuck will go and put a boot up there, Jaxie. So if there's no more questions, ask them in the Keap, in Mighty Networks, in the Keap partner community, in Facebook, email me, or there's a number of different routes. Go and seriously, your RPMs are there. Book in a call. I've put the link in the chat. I'm hoping that you guys are out of excuses. And if you need accountability, your RPMs are there for that too, as are your fellow Keap partners. And if you don't have the expertise, I can guarantee you 110% there is another Keap partner that does. That's it. I'm done. If you're all good, I'm all good. I hope you enjoyed today's session. How did I do out of 5? Scores out of 5 for how we did today for value, and scores out of, and including who's actually going to take action. Oh, I got a 6 from Alison. Hell yeah. And I got 20 from Chucky Chuck. So really, all I want to see now is everybody putting success messages up in the Keap partner groups. Okay. Be accountable, be visible, and take responsibility for driving other partners forward. I love you all. Thank you very much. And let's all see you all at the next partner day in April in Arizona. See you there.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys. You are released. You may go.